Hey guys, so today we're actually going to start creating our wood panel, and I haven't really set a perfect example for wood panels, but I have created bricks using the physical 3D texture, but I haven't really set an example for the wood panel. So today we're going to create just that. First of all, I'm going to go to texture sculptor, and then let's begin from there. Since I like using texture sculptor because it's it made me it's basic, everything is already here and prepared. My document is already square, and all we have to do is just remove this one, which is the texture sculptor, or the sculpting plane. So I'm gonna remove that, and right now, let me just turn on perspective. I'm going to append and maybe have a square. So in here, let me just turn off. We're going to prioritize creating our wood plank first. So so for the past progress, you guys, Polypix team, haven't really set an example for Jeff, so this will hopefully be helpful for him. So for one, I'm going to start creating my texture plank, and maybe something like this would be doable. Maybe in scale, something like that. Okay, I'm good with that. Alright, that's cool. Maybe a bit higher. There you go. I'm going to turn on my preference, edit, and go to solo so that I can actually just click it and hit solo. So here I'm going to start creating my plank first, so all the details I need. So we have two faces, so I'm going to use the other face for another detail. Another face of the plank, so we can have two variations of planks in just using one plank. So let me just subdivide our plank. Okay, before subdividing, I'm going to turn off symmetry and divide it so that I have enough supporting edges to support the shape. So that looks good to me. So the next thing I like to do is basically try to trim out the edges and start creating some details. So let's just do that. But before that, I'm going to dynamesh this thing first. That I have enough resolution in my mesh. So 400,000 is enough. And I also want to smoothen out the edges, not too sharp. So as you can see, it smoothens this out. And also I'm going to use relax. Where the hell is relax? Relax. There you go. I gotcha. Okay, that doesn't help. Alright, so next thing is I'm going to create my details here in my panel. So I could trim out the edges. Because what workflow that you, Jeff, did, which is my mistake, is we basically started with just a base plank, and then we started to tile it, and then we add the details later on, which we could have also create one plank, add all the details, and at the same time, we're basically trying to use the same workflow for the brick, because we added the details first, and then we just created one brick and then we populated it. We could do the same thing for the planks as well. The only difference was the placement of the planks are different from the brick, because the brick has several pieces and planks doesn't have a lot of pieces. So we have to really be wise of how we use it. I don't need zoom. And as well as, let me just turn this off for range so you guys can see it. Alright, I'm gonna have that. maybe press X so I can also turn on transform, just to make it fast, and go to Y. There you go. So I can start mirroring out some details in here, something like that. Alright, cool. Have the same thing right here at the end. That's pretty cool. This saves a lot of time doing this. So basically we're it's making it efficient working in wood. Let me turn off X. Alright, so that's looking good. Just have to add a few details here in the back. Both of the front and back should be a little bit different to each other, because this is another face of the wooden plank that we're going to use. We just have to flip this one to it so that we have another variation. Which is what we need. Alright. Which is pretty cool. So we got this right here, and we also got the ones in the front. So we haven't added really details on top of this one. There you go. And something like that. Cool. So we basically got it. We got this details right here, and once you start finalizing your mesh, you can start dynameshing it for final. But right now I'm still creating them. So that's pretty much done in terms of wood damages and all that stuff. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the brush. I'm going to use the wood fiber brush that we have right now. When you use the slash brush, I really have to say this, but make sure to don't. I really have to say this, that guys don't use any brushes that have too high intensity when it comes to details. As much as possible, it's like around maximum of 18 to or maybe from 1 to 18 in terms of intensity of the brush. Don't go beyond 20 or 19. It's just way too intense, and we try to avoid too harsh details in our surface, because we don't want it to be bugging us too much in our normal maps. So as much as possible, we want to avoid too harsh details. So let me just maybe something like that. There you go. Alright, so we're basically just adding more details, and I also highly suggest that if you're also going to add details here, then in the edge, then I suggest putting this, cracked head edge right here, so that we have something like damaged edges, something like that. So make sure to turn off back face normal, so that you'll avoid something like this. So let me just remove everything. So I'm going to turn on brush and then go to modifiers, surface, auto masking, and then turn off back face normal, so that when you do add these details, it's not going to pop out in the back. So alright, so let's do the same thing here. Which is cool. Alright. Okay, so basically, once you guys are finished with your planks, oh gosh, here we go again. Hold on. Sorry about that. Alright, so let me just hold on a sec. Let me just add a bit more details on the plank, maybe some strokes, something like that. Make sure that your wood fiber isn't so harsh. It's just light enough to you could see that there's wood fibers in there. Gosh, there you go again. Remove. Turn on back face mask so that you wouldn't see it on the other side. Just make sure that that's always on when it comes to detailing. There you go. Alright, let's do that. The same thing on the other side. Alright, so I'll consider this as final. So all you have to do now is basically try to decimate this. So I'm going to use my decimate and then go to 20K. Alright. All good. So now we have an optimized version of our plank, which is great. This is what we're going to use to fill our plank, fill our needs. There you go. Alright, so let me just turn off this and press F, and voila, you got your plank. All good, all ready. I'm going to turn this on, and then this is where the fun starts. So now I'm going to use it and basically tile it on the other side. So I'm going to go Ctrl-Shift-D, and then deformation, offset. I'm going to put it up. Sorry about that. So 100, another 100. That's not good. Another 100. Something's not right here. Alright. Let me remove this thing. Delete this and say OK. A-OK. And then Ctrl-Shift-D. Go for 100 and another 100. That's strange. Okay, so maybe if this happens to you guys, like, you know, you move it 100 and 100 and it still looks like this, then maybe something's wrong with your plane. Control Shift D, delete. Maybe your focus area is just way too small. So all you have to do is basically delete this plane. First you have to append a new plane. So I'm going to say, hey, I need a new 3D plane and I need to get rid of you. Alright, so make sure that you press F. Oh, and turn off your perspective. Don't forget about that. And this is where we start again. Make sure it works. Make sure that our plane is right. Looks like it is. Now I'm going to say Control Shift D. Duplicate the plane. Duplicate the wood. Turn on Y, turn off X. 100, another 100. It still doesn't. That's weird. You can just maybe do that or something. Yeah, that is weird. Alright, hold on, let me just figure this out. Okay guys, sorry. Okay, so basically I already figured something out in here. So let me show you what's going on. So if ever you encounter something like this, where your planks is actually overlapping to each other, then the problem isn't the plane or the plank itself. The problem is that your your wood is just way too big enough to tile. So let me get this straight. So what I'm showing you here is, I'm going to delete this first. Let's get the original. So as you can see, let me actually go to geometry, location. Where the fuck is the location? Merge, project, extract. Fucking hell. Size, stager. Jeez. Position, there you go, sorry. So let me just adjust the position. 0, enter, 0, enter, 0, enter. So as you can see that our plank is just way too big. So let me just so that's why basically even if we tile it, it still doesn't work, because one more thing for sure is that our object is more than 200 by 200. So we have to make sure that our object isn't more than 200 by 200. So since our plane is 200 by 200, and we have to make sure that whatever object we're creating for the plane isn't going to be bigger than 200 by 200. So as you can see that we have to match the scale of our plane on the scale of our object. So we have to turn, if overlapping happens, then we have to scale our object down to match by 200 by 200. So let me just press F. So we have to so at least that it's it's big enough that it fits in the plane, but it's not too big enough that it actually goes out of the plane. So basically so your object needs to at least be big enough to actually fit in the scale in the plane, and not too big enough that it actually goes out of the plane. So that's the maximum. Don't go out in terms of scale. Don't go beyond out of the plane, then, because what happens is that your tiling is going to overlap to each other because it's way too big for its size. So make sure that you have that in mind. So let me go back again. So what happens now is if we actually Control-Shift-D and go back to deformation, then we have to turn this on, a Y, and 100 and 100. Now it actually fits because we did that. So make sure just to, that the maximum size of our object is the size of the plane, and just don't go beyond the size of the don't go beyond the size of the plane, or else it's gonna overlap on each other. So make sure to keep that in mind. All right, so now that we resolved that, I'm going to Control-Shift-D again, and I'm going to do the same thing, maybe here, just on top, something like that. And then maybe I'm going to rotate this. Make sure to turn on snap when you rotate it by pressing Shift, and it actually snaps it to a certain number, like 180. So I'm gonna press F. All right. So let's go back to the object and Control-Shift-D on our object, and then I'm going to use Y, turn on Y and turn off X. So 100 and 100. And there we have it, folks. There we have it. It's freaking finally working. So I'm quite satisfied on how it looks. So let me just also, one more thing so that you don't have too many subtools, is that you can merge them. So for me, let's see, where does this shit go? Okay, turn that on. Alright, so I'm gonna merge these two, so merge down, press OK. And then you can do the same thing here on top, and merge down. So you have two pieces now, and you can play with this one. And when your gizmo goes out, you can just press this location key, and it actually centers it. So I'm going back to the F to center, put it on center. Control-Shift-D, Control-Shift-D, and then we can put it like in here, something like that. D again, so we can play with it now. And so as the others, you can say Control-Shift-D on this one, and you can also adjust the size if you want. But this is the limit. Okay, so I want to go at least here in the center. But don't go beyond here because you want them to tile. So what you see here needs to tile here. So we need to press this one and Control-Shift-D, and basically all we have to do is go to deformation and turn okay, so X is already on, and go for a -100 and another -100. All right, it doesn't matter if you can't see it as long as it's there. And then let's do the other side, this one, Control-Shift-D, and then 100 and 100. Alright, so, oops. So let's do it again. Oh shit, it's lagging. God damn it. Fuck. But yeah guys, since it's lagging and my ZBrush is turning to shit, there you go. That's pretty much it. I want to show you guys. Make sure to check that out, Jeff. It's really important, and you can learn some stuff in there too. So yeah, enjoy.